don't think about the viewer. I think about keeping things alive, I only watch, no, it's not that I only watch classic films or silent films. I have plenty of works because in Argentina, in order to survive, you have to have 3 or 4 jobs. If you're an artist or a filmmaker or someone that is interested in humanistic, like sociology or whatever, you have to be you have to work. And I for example, I'm a film professor at Universidad del Cine. I've been teaching since 2016. I am an archivist. I work at the Museum of Moving Image of Buenos Aires. That I don't know if you know that institution is the institution that found the complete copy of Metropolis now. And I'm really thankful to that institution because it's really, how do you say, encouraging. Yeah. Yes, they encouraged me a lot, and I want to thank that. And I also act. I train acting, and I do commercials sometimes. I put my body in the capitalist system of doing castings and suffer the exploitation of doing this kind of tacky and horrible work that it's putting your face to a yogurt in order to, for example, buy an electric guitar or live. I don't usually like to work horizontally with actors. I really love the Jean Renoir's method, Jean Renoir. My French is not good, but he's the son of Pierre-Auguste Renoir, the painter, the impressionistic painter. So I've been studying Renoir and his father and the relationship with Impressionism and the beginning of cinema, like the Lumière city films. And what is important for Renoir and it's important for Impressionism. Impressionism was like the first visual movement or Movimiento that tried to fix in one frame the movement, like movement. And cinema, and that was in the late 19th century, no? With Monet, Manet, Renoir. And then the cine came, no? Just at the same moment. Cine, the movies, the films. And it's interesting for me to always to keep a movement when I'm framing something, and something has to move when I shoot. I have to capture that movement, to eternize or mummificate the movement. Cinema was born in order to mummify, the movement. And movement is its life. And when you see the first films in history of cinema, they were shot in nitrate, nitrate, that explosive. Chemical. And the depth of field was really profound. The depth of field, the definition was way much better than 8K. It was created. The first films in history were created in order to transcend death. And the first picture, think in the first picture that you saw, the old pictures, the first pictures, they are a little bit phantasmagoric, and because people were still, they were really nervous. The photographers they had one shot to take a picture, and they wanted really, really, really to preserve life. That's why the horror movies usually go to that, because it feels like there's something that is transcending death. And cinema was born with this idea, the idea of transcending death, to be eternal. And when you see when the sound came into history of cinema, something got drained about this idea of keeping things alive. But when you see silent films or the first primitive or the first period of silent films, like Lumière or Méliès or Porter, for example, you see that something is about preserving, like a Dr. Frankenstein, it's like Dr. Frankenstein, to keep things alive in order to keep things alive forever. And something happened then in the 30s that something got lost. Why did they invent cinema? They invent cinema to transcend death. And then you saw a frame of Lillian Gish in The Birth of a Nation, and there's something there that is way much potent that if you see a frame of, Audrey Hepburn in a 50s or 60s film, you know? Something got lost, and I'm always like wondering, how can I get there again? And I'm not alone here, because the directors that I really admire, for example, Eric Romer or Pedro Costa or Hitchcock or, well, the great filmmakers, I'm not comparing with them at all, but I see their films because I see these intentions of being serious when you are framing. When you're framing, you are like trying to get something alive forever, you know. And when I decided the actors with whom I want to work, or the framing, I want to keep all these gestures. I want to work for that living gestures, you know. And maybe if you see my short films, you will see that, because I see that like objectively. I don't care about like saying that there's something alive in my films. Like I do know that, because I work very hard to get my films alive. In this way, it's way much important than plot. Plot or the formulaic ideological way of approaching cinema, and the thesis, you know, the thesis. I hate the thesis. I hate like these European films that are always like talking about post-colonialism, and they are not alive. You're shooting African people, you are shooting poor people, but you're not working in order to keep them alive. And then you see a film of Pedro Costa, and what you see is that he took the time to do the work of a filmmaker, is to do the work of keeping alive those faces, because that's horizontality, and that's an ethic way of shooting, not an horizontally, you know, exploitation way. And I'm tired of seeing Argentinians and Europeans films that are always like vertical, and they're always exploiting the people that is in front of the camera. And this is that's ruining up the film. And there are a lot of people that are not doing the work of studying history. And I get mad with that, because I really love cinema. I'm a really patient person. I do films, like I do one film, then I put this film aside. This film I shot it in 2019, then I stopped, and I don't care about stopping. I don't want to be a part of the cultural world, you know, like in the papers and that. I want to do films, because I really loved films, because when I was a kid, I really loved that photogenic, metaphysical thing that films give to us. And there's a lot of hurry, no, to be successful. And it's weird, because here in Europe, we are Argentinians. We are used to have lots of works. I worked at a bar. I worked like a projectionist, and I worked first like cutting the tickets in a cinema. And then that gave me time to think. With cinema, there's something wrong, and something is happening, but people are not going to cinemas because this metaphysical thing is not working. It's like the same of horizontality, like the talent that creates a psychology and studies. Like that's really like silly for me, because cinema is about reality, and I write my things that I shoot. I write it because I observe something in my actors, and then I tailored. You know, like a suit to them, in order to get what they got alive as humans alive. So there's fiction, but there's always reality in what I shoot. I don't want to get really particular with the short film, because maybe people are not going to see my short film. But there are plenty of moments that are related. The plot is more about respecting the actors that I have in front of mine, but as humans, not as actors, like cultural, you know, cultural map. When you really want to be an actor, or you really want to be a director or an artist, for me that's an error. It's better. If you see, for example, that one of the best films of film history for me is the interview that Jacques Rivette did to Jean Renoir. It's Jean Renoir, the boss, and it's like 2 hours long or something like that. And it's Jean Renoir that he mostly invented modern cinema, and his father invented modern painting. So there's a clue there to study. And there's that biography of Renoir's father that Jean Renoir wrote, and there's a clue there to understand this thing of keeping things alive without being solemn. And when you see a for example, a Pierre Renoir painting, and you see life, movement, and you don't see figure and background. You see that everything is the same, it's horizontal. The way of approaching of Renoir was to be horizontal with their actors. And my family always said, why don't you direct commercials? You are a commercial, you are a director, why don't you? You will win lots and lots of money. No, because I don't know how to sell myself in order to be a great filmmaker, in a great or important filmmaker. I don't know how to do the work to be a commercial director or to direct a film TV series. But I decided to not waste my time knowing how to do that. I prefer to work in a film archive. I prefer to work as a film teacher. I prefer to work in different things and pay my rent, like working in lots of places. And I really loved putting my body in commercials because I'm educated like in French cinema and this kind of, it's not snob French cinema because French are really popular, no? Renoir and Jacques Becker, and there are like party people that are Latinos. But there's an idea of like, just like taking Godard like too seriously. He was not such serious about his job, and for example, no. And I really love to put my body in a commercial, and I also acted in a Netflix comedy. I like a tiny character, and it was beautiful to be part of a commercial thing with my body.
But not your soul.
But not my soul, yes. It's like putting my body in a commercial film of yogurt. It's the daily life that we have, but we don't see it. We are all actors of yogurt's commercials, no? Yeah, but when you are there, you're, oh my God, we are all actors of yogurt commercials all the time. And here at Berlinale, as like directors, we are kind of, I love Berlinale and everything, but I know how the world works. I'm not stupid. So for me, maybe like winning Berlinale help me a little bit to be a little bit more fluid with this, like, and getting money, you know, like it's like Brecht, you know, like Brecht used to say that the most important thing of all was to get the money. Like the creative process would come later. And for me, talking about money, that it's really important. My short film is all about money. It's not that I'm a money-obsessed people or person, but it's important in order to keep on studying, to keep on observing, to keep on doing this kind of weird films. If you start like studying traditions, you find freedom, because everything is a mixture. Nothing is boxed. And you find freedom, and freedom gives you horizontality because you are relaxed. And I don't care about this interview. I'm like, and that gives me power because I'm fresh. In that, because I can talk, I can say whatever I want.
Yeah.
And it's not a pedantic or arrogant. It's more like this is war, like a human being's war. First, not filmmakers. It's like films and art helps you to be a better human. That's the process. Not the films are like excuses or weird results of human investigation with yourself and with others.